Hello, hello, hello there. How are you? Welcome to Spilt Milk, the Food Trust Podcast. I'm your host, Raina Andrews. Spilt Milk is a weekly podcast powered by the Healthy Food Movement. This podcast is focused on our global food system. Here we talk about food politics, food justice, and food as medicine. As a mother, a health enthusiast, an entrepreneur, an author, a food literacy coach, I've spent a lot of time trying to make sense of our food system, and I want to bring the knowledge I've learned to you so that you can make the decisions that are necessary for you and your family. This is a live podcast. And so I want you to know that you can tune in every Friday at 4 p.m. Visit our Spilt Milk Facebook page and be sure to like and share. So let's get to it. On today's show, we're talking about the science of emotional eating. And to help provide a context for this important conversation, I've invited my dear colleague and friend, certified dietitian, author and chief motivator, Bridgett Wilder of Perseverance Health and Wellness Coaching. Hello, Bridgett. How are you?
Well, hello, beautiful leader in the community, force to be reckoned with. Nothing can compare. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share on your platform.
Thank you. You know, when I was checking you out the other day, I was just thinking, you are fine, honey. Okay, can I just say that I have been following you, and I am so just enamored with your development and who you are. And so can you tell me just a little bit about your movement?
Well, I'm on a quest to save lives by way of nutrition. And for me, with Perseverance Health and Wellness Coaching, I began with the concepts of dealing with the total person. Not just food, but also the spiritual component, and I'm not meaning preachy. I'm just helping a person make alignment with their mind, body, and spirit. That's what I do with Perseverance Health and Wellness Coaching. Mm-hmm. And if I was to tell you, for me, the reason why I name my business Perseverance is it means enduring against all odds. And before my journey of becoming a dietitian, I had to walk out every concept that I teach my clients. I do corporate, community, and personalized programs, and I run into the same thing with every group that I teach. Mm-hmm. People are dealing with life, and yes, that's what I do. I help people navigate that.
So I thought it was so important to bring you on today because as we are celebrating Black History Month, at the beginning of this month, we talked about Heart Health Month. It was Go Red for Women Day for heart disease and for other cardiovascular challenges. A week after that, we were talking about National Black HIV Awareness Day, and it seems like every health disparity, it seems to hit African Americans a bit more. And so I thought it'd be fitting during COVID-19 when emotional eating is probably at the all-time high that we speak to somebody who has experience with it, not only from the theoretical and practitioner side, but from the very real personal side. So if you don't mind, do you mind sharing just a little bit about your food journey?
Yes. So my relationship with food has been a love-hate relationship. I loved how food tastes. I loved what it did for me in a moment, but it was just a moment. Mm-hmm. After I got done eating the foods that I loved so much, like pizza, ice cream, French fries, I became disconnected when I felt like crap afterwards. And if I was to walk you through my beginning journey, I'm going to start by saying this. I was raped at the age of 15. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was just broken. Didn't realize I was broken, but it influenced my life decisions. Mm-hmm. I married young. I married right when I turned 20 years old, the same month. And I began to have children right away. And from the ages of 20 to 36, me and my husband had 10 children and 2 miscarriages.
So wait. So can we talk about that? The fact that you had 10 children.
Yes.
Okay. Because usually...
Plus 2 miscarriages, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes. But in the middle of me going through that journey, I had a huge, massive weight gain. So here I was, this young woman. By the time I was 27, I had already had 7 kids. And I was dealing with depression, low self-esteem, and things that I haven't dealt with in relation to the rape. And plus, I wasn't happily married. Not
Yeah.
because I didn't have a great guy. It's just I had too much going on for a woman that young that didn't know herself.
So by the age of 27, you had 7 children.
Yes.
Wow.
And by the time my husband passed away, and I'm gonna get into that, is when he was 37 when he passed, and I was left to raise 16-year-old to a 4 month. My children ranged from 16 years old to 4 months. So it was nine surviving children. I lost a child at the age of six, 3 years before my husband.
Yeah.
So my life was a mess. And mind you, I always loved nutrition.
Hmm.
I didn't understand. Even with my bad eating behaviors, I always loved nutrition. So when my husband passed away, it triggered a passion into a need
Hmm.
because I did not want my children to lose me like they lost their dad, and he died from congestive heart failure.
Hmm.
And I had diabetes.
Hmm.
So when you talk about the predisposal to disease, my weight and my family history, diabetes was genetic. But by the time I lost 65 of the 170 pounds I lost, I had reversed my outcomes by modifying my eating behaviors and was no longer classified as a diabetic.
Wow.
However, to get to that journey, I had to deal with what was going on. I was carrying two types of weight. I was carrying a weight in bondage from depression, loss of loved ones, fear, insecurity, rape, it shifted into weight in pounds quickly. And the person I was when I was married is totally different from the person I am today.
I mean,
Because
because at 27, I would think that you probably didn't really even know yourself at that point, right?
I did not. And at 27, my husband was sick. And I had a sick child at the time. Brandon, at one time in my life, my child and my husband was so sick, I was walking from Children's Hospital to Frederick Hospital at the same time because they were hospitalized at the same time.
I
And
can't.
at the time, at that point, I was in my early 30s, dealing with all of that mess and a weight issue. But I couldn't comprehend the weight issue because what I had in my life was going on so strong that myself took a back seat because I had to take care of others that was in a horrible state. So emotional eating is something that I did. I lived that. When I was fearful, I ate. When I was hurt, I ate. Even now, I had to learn strategies to deal with my emotional eating patterns. I have tricks to keep me from going back to what I left for that. And we can talk about that later on.
Yeah.
But to give you a glimpse of my story, I share this to help others. And my passion is helping women because I know we deal with a lot.
Hmm.
And when we don't do self care, we're putting ourselves in a worse state. Because no matter what we got going on around us, self care should still be priority. Otherwise, we will drown. And we will continue to be in a cycle of feeling hopeless and feeling like you're the only one.
Hmm. I think that's so important that you mention this. And I can only speak, as you would say, also from an African American woman's perspective, is that it's almost like we are raised and designed to put on everybody else's baggage, including our own. And it's almost like as if we have to survive through life. We'll just get through it. We'll just get through it. We'll just fix it. We'll just fix it. And before we look up, we're not taking care of ourselves. So boom, and 200 pounds later, right?
Right. Right.
Wow.
God. I mean, I had an additional, I used to wear a size 26. Now my waistline is a 26.
Hey, I
I
think
used
we call that
to wear
snatched,
a size
huh?
26. Let me tell you something. I did some work, girl. But the work I did, it was a painful process
Yes.
because every step of the way, I still ran into stuff about myself that I noticed insecurities, and every time I saw insecurity, I was like, I got to get to that. And I'm
Yes.
gonna tell you, since we just having a conversation, right now,
Mm-hmm.
what happened was I was looking at some old Facebook pictures of myself, and I saw insecurity in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I said to God, I said, God, take that out of my eyes. I don't want that because the eyes are the window to the soul.
Yes.
So I started dating, and the people that I was dating was feeding my insecurity, and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize that I was chasing affirmations from people. I was chasing acceptance. I was chasing to get rid of the rejection feeling. You know, sometimes I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes as women, especially, let me just get on black women for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
and my white counterparts. Trust me, I see you too. It's not just about you. I'm just talking about an experience that I know. We as African American women are beautiful. We're go getters. We were trained to survive. But who taught us to love ourselves? Who taught us to dig deep and take ourselves to a next level without being concerned about who's carrying us? Sometimes we have that negative thing that says black women don't support each other. Yes, we do. Me and you are together as a representation of that.
Right.
But we get into the concept, the deception that is a lie about us. We are resilient. But we need to know that we are worthy. Our hair, our skin, our body, everything about us, it exudes bossness. And when we see that, when we accept that, we make room for the new and we let go of the old, and then we are okay with it.
Hello.
So
It's an inside
that
job, honey.
it's an inside job.
Yes.
And this is the beautiful thing about it. If you get your inside together, you'll be surprised who you attract.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when we are insecure, whether it's in relation to weight, relationship, anything, we attract what we carry.
It's a vibration.
It's a vibration. But when you get into a place where you say, you know what, I'm worth the weight loss. I'm worth modifying my eating behaviors. I'm worth living my best life. I'm worth seeing myself as valuable and beautiful. You're going to attract that. You're going to expect what you give out.
So let's dive into how is our mental health connected to our physical health? Because before this, we talked about that there's emotional eating that's negative, but there's also such thing as happy eating.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about that. So when we talk about emotional eating, think about the patterns that we were raised with. When we're planning a wedding, we talk about the type of foods that we're going to provide to the guests. When we're planning a funeral, that same concept applies. However, if we don't deal with that constant revisiting that same pattern, we're going to be more at risk for obesity and weight gain because we're not considering what we put in our body. It's okay on occasion to have some things, but when we're in an emotional eating state, we choose foods often that are salty and sweet.
Yeah.
Comfort. Like right now, you talked about the COVID-19 crisis. People are in a state right now where there's so much going on. How do we process all of these changes that just got masked on us? We didn't ask for it, we didn't see it coming, but yet it shifted everything, the core of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
It shifted our relationship with our work relationship. It some of us shifted it to having a business. But what does that mean if you don't know how to start and you don't have the monies and the resources? You can go to an emotional state and begin binge eating.
Yeah.
So then we're caught up in a moment based on an experience of COVID-19 that we didn't even see coming. So now we have to know how to shift in a place like this.
Mm-hmm.
How do we shift? We strategize. We get familiar with what is causing my eating choices. I encourage the people that I work with to journal their emotions while they eat
Mm-hmm.
so that they can develop a pattern to identifying what causes them to eat poorly. I teach concepts on even identifying what is poor eating. eating processed foods, eating things that deteriorate our heart health, eating salty foods, sweet foods continuously.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine, and I'm gonna throw in a nutritional fact before we start talking. I gotta share this.
Mm-hmm.
It is recommended for us as women to have no more than 6 teaspoons of sugar a day.
6?
Six.
Listen,
Now,
some women have that in their morning coffee, huh?
that's it.
Yeah.
6 teaspoons. So, but we can get 27 teaspoons in a 1 liter soda of sugar.
Wow.
So if we think about 6 teaspoons of sugar, which is recommended for women, and we can consume a soda, it can throw everything off of whack. So when you're eating out of emotion and we're choosing foods like that, that's what puts us in a place of losing control. How did we get here? How did I get to a place that I'm dealing with obesity or increased risk to disease?
So when you talk about the salt and sugar, and don't combine sugar and flour, the pastas and the starches and the rices,
Right.
in the rice, because then it does something to your brain that'll have you drive all across town for that chicken sandwich
Yes.
to those insomnia cookies. And
Yes.
so, wow.
Yes. And what ends up happening is sugar stores itself as fat when we don't get rid of it. When we don't exercise and move, that sugar turns into fat. Carbohydrates turn to sugar, sugar turns to fat, then we got a weight problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can talk about the nutrition component, but the whole total being of mind, body, and spirit, which influences our eating behaviors. So with perseverance, health, and wellness coaching, I deal with all three concepts.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I was to use the term depression, depression influences your mind, your body, and your spirit.
Yeah.
You may be at a place mentally where you don't feel like getting out of bed because of your depression.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have, and it influences your body because you may not feel like moving. You're staying in the bed. And then it may have you at a place where you either feel like eating or not.
Yeah.
And that's off of one diagnosis of depression.
And for some of those who are listening, who are in the Midwest, who are in Wisconsin, we deal with a lot of seasonal depression with not being able to go outside because it's snowing. And in the new snowbirds in Texas, they're getting a taste of this.
Yes. So it's important. I mean, I'm not going to shoot my colleagues under the bus as dietitians. But
But,
when, but let me just say, when people come to you and all you can tell them is how much fat to eat, how many carbs to eat, how much water to drink, but they walk away thinking it's their problem because they think it's the food. But let me give you an example. If I have a piece of cake in front of me and I have an orange, my goals are telling me to eat the orange, but my emotions are telling me to eat that cake. I don't care what kind of goal I got.
it's a whole nother level of addiction. What is it about sugar that does something to your brain that will have you, oh man.
That's a whole different dynamic. Sugar it can have a drug effect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Food impacts your mood.
Mm-hmm.
It just does. But when I want to tell you the shift in your mind or what it can do,
Mm-hmm.
I teach a class called Decluttering Your Cabinet for Nutritional or Weight Loss Success. And oftentimes when people come to me and I say that, they think I'm going to come to the house or I'm going to look in the refrigerator and say, get rid of all the salty foods, get rid of all the sugar. No. Well, that's a part of it. But the first part would be who's in your space that's sabotaging your success?
Ooh.
Who is around you that's causing you to be in that place of not being able to move forward? Are they causing you to eat emotionally because they're stressing you out? What do you have on your plate for you? You're taking care of your children. You may be taking care of a spouse. Do you have room for you?
Mm-hmm.
And when we're navigating from that perspective, people stop at fast food place quickly without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
They just grab something, they go, and I have to tell you, at one point in my life, like all the points in my life, now I get this, I ate how I felt about myself.
Mm.
So when I was emotionally eating, I ate fast food, I ate quick fix, but that's how I felt about myself at that time.
Right.
I was a self-sabotager, insecure. I ate like that.
Right.
But now that I got this sense of vibrancy about life, I know I'm worth it. I eat in alignment with that. So
So
what my go ahead.
I said, so what was your aha moment that you said, enough is enough?
Oh my God.
When did
Listen,
you pivot to say I'm making a comeback?
oh, my comeback came when I looked at myself and I said to myself, I want better than this. I didn't know what that better meant. All I knew was I wanted out. And I have to tell you, the thing that triggered me is I wanted out of that cycle of dependency.
Ooh.
And what that was for me was when I got married, I became totally dependent on my husband for everything. I lost a sense of self. Didn't even know what I wanted anymore out of life. Now I have to say my husband was great to me. This is things that just happened to me as a woman. I got too comfortable in dependency and I stagnated myself, which was triggered by the rape that I mentioned, but I hadn't dealt with that yet. And I got tired of being needy. I just got tired of that needy look, that needy feeling, that need for validation. Can I have to ask? I used to ask people, what do you think about me making this choice? What do you think about that? And I just got sick of that life.
Asking
It was
everybody else for approval for what you wanted.
what I wanted when I didn't even realize I had my own voice. How can you be this chocolate diva and
This,
don't even know it?
this chocolate drop.
Right. I didn't know it. And there's so many women that's walking around, even raising daughters. They don't even know who they are. We got to stop the cycle.
And as mothers, we know our babies are watching every bit of us. And what are we modeling?
Yes.
So that's a great
And
transition. So you've gone through this transformation,
mhm,
perseverance, health and wellness coaching. How have you been able to bring your family along with you?
that's $1 million question right there. It's crazy that you asked me that right now because my older children, they had weight issues based on where I was in my life, and my younger ones have my new way of living. But now I have a son that goes to Howard University that's studying public relations. I have
HBCU, baby.
and Howard, come on now, what?
Yes.
And just had his first internship. I have a 16-year-old that's a model and has done amazing things. She actually did a shoot for the designer for Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister. Oldest an accountant, but I also had a child who suffered from obesity and he's lost 100 pounds, and a
Wow.
daughter that's losing. But that is a direct correlation between them watching me want to grow, and they told me that
Yep.
when I thought I wasn't doing enough. They said, "Mom, it's because of you we here. You don't have to have a pity party about anything." Because I have my moments as a single mother. We feel like we can do it all.
Yes.
But sometimes we need somebody to remind us that we still got it. And it's a great thing when it comes to your children. Does
You're,
that answer your
and
question?
they're so honest.
Oh, yeah. They tell me when I got it wrong, too, now.
So
But yeah,
what systems do you have in place? And when you're coaching your clients, what types of systems do you have them put in place so when those insecurities pop up, you
hmm
have something to counter that?
yes. So when it comes to the client, for for ethical reasons, I don't want people feeling like they have to come to me telling me all of their personal business. My goal is to help them identify what's going on in their life. So when they come to me, the first thing that I do before we transition to a nutrition program, I make them journal for a week. I make them get familiar with their habits. I don't want them to change anything until they get a picture. So on a journey of wellness for not only myself but for my clients, I ask each client this same question: How bad do you want it? And I want them to take that question and I want them to see their why. Why do I want this? I want them to see it so that they can go for it and keep it long term versus losing weight and gaining it back.
Yeah.
Do you want to tap into, I want to just be better or I want to be healthier? I want them to see a complete shift. And if they can see it, then I got them.
Right.
But if they can't see it, I'll never get them. So I have to grab a hold to the core or the heart of my client to
Mm-hmm.
help them fall in love with their journey, to see weight loss or weight or nutrition management, because everybody doesn't want to lose weight, as just a better place. It's a journey to enjoy. It's a self-improvement
Mm-hmm.
mission. And when you look at it from that perspective, instead of, oh, I got to lose 20 pounds by the summertime, no, I get to lose 20 pounds by the summertime, and I'm going to enjoy the process.
Yes, it's definitely a relationship with your food. And I like that shift in language that you pulled out is
Hmm.
not a have to, it's something that you desire to do. It's an experience
Oh,
because
yeah.
people will go on these crash diets like keto and the what is
So
that, the Mediterranean diet?
all of
Uh,
that. All
and
of
it
it's so many diets. It's so many. But here's the thing that we miss. If I haven't changed the core of me, do you think the weight gonna change that?
no.
If I with even losing 170 pounds, I still have to chase better as far as my self security. I reached the milestone. I'm at a place physically I can run 10 miles right now.
Mhm.
48 years old, and can run 10 miles and run the steps 20 times at the lakefront up and 20 times down.
Wow.
But even with that, I reached the goal, but life still happens.
Yes.
Heartbreak still happens, kids still act up, life still happens. So if I don't deal with the core of what's in my environment so that I can navigate,
Mhm.
like COVID-19 is here. We can't make COVID go away. It'll go
Mhm.
away in its timing, but for now, it's here.
Yeah.
Am I going to get stuck in COVID, or am I going to keep it pushing?
Right.
And there are some things that we can't control. We can't control. But the things that you do have in your hand is this: your health is your wealth. There are components of that you can take control of. When I talk to you about the cake and the orange, my mind tells my hand to pick it up. Which one do I choose? It's my choice. The cake didn't jump in your mouth. Your hand picked it up and put it in your mouth.
Right.
That means you have a sense of control.
Yes.
We can't blame COVID for that.
Yes, but some people with their emotions, I think what we're illustrating, are out of control. And I
Right.
think there are a number of parallels. When we're out of control, sometimes the balancing effect, when we're out of control with our diet, we'll feel the need to be in even more control in other areas of our life, which just
Yes.
creates a spiraling effect. I I'm
And that
I'm
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you go. When I'm talking about this spiraling effect, what I was going to jump into is like, how do you choose to eat? Because for me, I know some of my experiences with food, either not having enough growing up, having a level of food insecurity. It's like I found in my earlier years, whenever I get stressed out, I'd either have this mentality, it's like, I deserve this piece of cake. Oh, I deserve this. And then even when I moved to a plant-based lifestyle, there's a such thing as becoming a plant-based vegan, where I would get all the breaded things. I'd get the impossible burgers, like, but I'm plant-based. I'm vegan, baby. And I mean, we don't, unless you know the structures of nutrition, which I think is why perseverance is so important, is that you teach them the science and the mechanics and the practicality behind it. Because it
Right.
wasn't until I met a nutritionist, a dietitian, a nurse that helped me read the labels and to become aware of what I was eating. And so, can you
That's
talk a little bit about, you transformed yourself, you transformed your family. How are you bringing this work to community?
that's good. So my I bring that work to the community because of the relatability in terms of my knowledge and the things that I experience. And I teach them, like you talked about, how to read food labels, teaching them how, when you talked about how to know when things are out of control, when you're emotional eating. That's where I come in. I teach you to gear you towards understanding what are your emotional triggers, as I stated. So if I can help teach you the mechanics of that for you, and for each person is individualized, it's a breakthrough, because then you can say, "Oh, I didn't know I was like that. Oh, wow, I didn't even know that bothered me."
Yeah.
One thing about food, we can do that mindlessly. We don't even have to think about it.
An
We just grab
autopilot.
autopilot. And we haven't stopped to think, oh man, at 9 p.m. that's movie watching time. I like to eat popcorn
A
at 9
whole
p.m.
bucket with butter and a lot of salt. And I've got to have
Yes,
a Coke with it, but I'll make it a Diet
exactly.
Coke.
Right. That part. So those are small little bitty little things that are triggers. We don't even think about it. That's just what we do on Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. We call it me time,
Yes.
right? That's
Ooh.
me time. That's something simple as me time. So let's restructure. What does me time include? What am I putting in my me time? Oftentimes we got this phrase that we say is I'm doing self-care. And most people think that's getting your nails done, getting your hair done, going to get a massage. That's a component. But real self-care, what am I doing to the inside of me?
Yes.
I could get my nails done and my nails not done this week. But
Listen.
that self-care on the
Listen, you
inside
see
is
me talking like this, huh? Do it real quick. Real quick.
you know, for real, I'm for real. And usually I have these nails popping, but baby, let me tell you what I did today. I ate right.
Uh-huh.
I'm feeling energetic. These nails might not be done, baby, but I made it to
Hey.
the gym.
Hello.
So I got my swag on. I put my wig on straight. So at the end of the day, let's redefine what self-care is.
Yes.
It's not what the world sees. Anybody could put a Facebook post on with a nails and hair done, but did they see you crying when the cameras went off?
Uh,
Did
well,
they see
let's
the tears? Let's talk
let's
about
talk
it.
about that. Yes. So, that we just have Valentine's Day. Folks posting pictures of this is Bay and it's not Bay today. And so, can you
Right.
talk about some of the emotions that may be swirling and maybe provide a couple of your tips as to how they can bring that back?
Man, let me tell you, Valentine's Day, I'm only gonna share a little bit. Only Raina knows the inside secrets of my true Valentine. But I had a Valentine's Day where I needed to get away. And it was because I didn't want to deal with the emotions behind not having someone. It's a hard time for me. So I decided that I know it's a moment that I usually have difficulties. So how can I navigate that and make it valuable? So I went away. Not to say that we have to go and get no extravagant things, but I just wanted to tap into myself and consider what are things that would make me see myself better. Structuring or rethinking what Valentine's Day looked like. Because I don't know how long I'm gonna be single, but I have to deal with it.
Listen, you about to
So
get snatched up real quick, honey. But go ahead, go ahead.
and I made Valentine's Day not about a partner, but about me. So I encourage women, you are not who you are in relationship with. You are a whole being in and of yourself. Now, as we prepare in a place like Valentine's Day or whatever the case may be, when you get to a place where you see that you'll work every step, whatever your path is, whether it's a weight loss journey, whether it's self improvement, because I'm also a life coach, whatever the case may be, just tap into something that's causing growth, whatever growth looks like for you. As African American women, we winning when it comes to business. We're doing our thing. I mean, for Christ's sake, we got a vice president. That's one of us.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, even with all the accolades and all of the things that we do to prosper ourselves, if you don't prosper yourself in terms of how you see yourself, you always gonna take a L. So choose to win. Make the changes that's needed. So I wrote a book. Can we talk about that, or were you going to
Yeah,
ask me a
I was
question?
about to dive right into it. So you are an
Okay.
author, so please. So you are an
Yes.
author of two books. One is Why Me? A Question I Refuse to Ask God. But there's another book coming out, A Beautiful Mess, that I think speaks directly to this. Tell the people about it.
Okay. So the first book, Why Me? A Question I Refuse to Ask God, is a journey talking about tragedy to triumph. How you can become and be whatever you desire to be, no matter what it looks like. Who would have thought this 300 and some odd person individual that had 10 children could make a comeback? I had classmates that counted me out. Now that some call me for business meetings, but I was the one that was considered the underdog, not by all, but some. And and that I had to tap into a different place. I went through being homeless with my children, and that was the time I made the dean's list
Mm-hmm.
with me and my 9 children. I'm
While you were in school
while I was
to
in
become a
school,
dietitian. Wow.
and, right, and didn't and graduated with honors with a degree in nutrition and psychology. But I was the woman that came to class, only African American student in the class, older student, graduated with honors, had 9 kids, but tragedy to triumph, lost a husband, lost a child, lost my mom, didn't know my hair from my tail, but I fought for it. So there's victory even when it doesn't seem like it could ever be.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, if I would have listened to the voices that told me I couldn't do it, I would have still been stuck. But I spoke to my own self by accepting what God saw in me, and I moved forward. That's
Mm-hmm.
what that book is about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my book that I'm still journaling about, people are like, girl, you've been talking about that book. Where is it at? It's called A Beautiful Mess, and you will know soon. I'm still working on details. I got to make sure it's right. It talks about self-care, loving yourself, not
Yes.
accepting anything lower than who you are, whether it's in relationship or how your family treats you, how you treat yourself. A beautiful mess is this. Though we all have messes, though we are imperfect beings, the beautiful thing is in the mess. It's a rose that grew out of concrete. In my mess, I'm beautiful. I put too much expectations on what people put too much expectation on what beauty is.
Yes.
Beauty is simply being you. I talked to you, Raina, simply about how when I was raped, and I talked about how I had this experience where I wanted something from God.
Mm-hmm.
And I started taking off my makeup and I started wearing dresses all the time, thinking that that would get me to a place in God where I needed to be. I had all these kids being fruitful and multiply, but all God wanted me to be was me.
Yes.
Come to Him with my mess and He would beautify me.
Mm-hmm.
But once I fell back and I allowed Him to just say, here, God, look, I'm a mess. I don't even know myself. I've been raped. I have all these children. I lost my husband. Look, I'm a mess. I'm
Mm-hmm.
broken. Restructure me. Help me to see myself as you see me.
Mm-hmm.
And what He allowed me to see is, Bridget, you're beautiful. I always knew that. I was
Mm-hmm.
waiting you to catch up to where I am,
Mm-hmm.
because He said I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, but I had to see that.
Yes.
So not pushing religion, not none of that. I'm encouraging you all. We all come with some grind, some messy stuff. Ain't nobody perfect. But when you say, oh, but that can be used, that messy
Mm-hmm.
stuff has purpose. That hurt that you had, that has purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that made me who I am. The losses I had, Raina, helps me to help other women because I'm in
Mm-hmm.
the same place with an understanding of what they're going through.
Mm-hmm. You know,
My
you
message,
you have
go
such
ahead.
a powerful testimony. You said, I don't want to get too religious here. I don't want to really preach today. Look, the preacher's coming out. And whether you're faith based or not, what I need people to get is, in order for you to love someone else, you must first love yourself. And
Right.
for me to understand and to love myself, I first have to understand how the Creator first loved me, so
That's
that
it.
I'm not giving out this level of conditional love that it seemingly, I can't talk about everybody's situation, that seemingly is what happens for
Right.
some that lack that own self-love. And I'm not all the way there yet. I kind of backslide, but I'm getting to know myself. I'm starting to love me for me without having to do certain things. And so I
Right.
would love for you to just let people know, where can they find your book?
First of all, you can purchase my first book directly from me, and that would be Perseverance Wellness at gmail.com. You can email me or see my website and send me an email, and I can ship you a book. And perseverewellness.com is my website, and you can get all my information there. Also, it's sold on Amazon, but it's preferred that you purchase directly from me,
Why don't you
and I
also
will provide. Go ahead.
No, and you'll provide what?
I provide information on my new book as the next steps come out when I release it.
So I was just going to say, you provide a lot of free information on social media, and so that they know when your next book comes out. What are your social media handles?
So my social media handles is primarily Instagram, Bridgett Wilder. Also, Perseverance Wellness is also my Instagram. And then just Facebook. I'm all over Facebook. For whatever reason, first Facebook just works for me. But I also have Perseverance Wellness on Facebook and Bridgett Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
Both I provide nutrition information.
So, spill
So the
milk. Mm-hmm. I was
Go
going
ahead.
to say that Spilt Milk is powered by the Healthy Food Movement, and we do food literacy, nutrition education as well, predominantly for children. And as we're very community engaged, I know you are out here everywhere I go, and even when I'm not in the room, I see Bridgett Wilder. And so just let the people know some of the blue chip brands that you're attached to and how you're moving and shaking not only for individuals, which listeners, if you see an inroad to sign up, I encourage you to reach out to Bridgett. But also you have a lot of corporate partners that are very ingrained in community. Let's talk about it.
Yes. Yes, I do work for the American Cancer Society. I do corporate community wellness programs. I'm partnered with the Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, AHAC Area Health Education Center, where I train different community leaders who train the community. So it could be nurse practitioners, community advocates. They all come to my classes to learn about nutrition and how to present that to the people that they service. I'm partnered with Walnut Way, did a bunch of news feeds for a whole bunch of different stories. Got another podcast coming up with Beverly Taylor on Monday.
Yes.
But individual consultation, if you would like to get services for changing your lifestyle for healthy eating and a whole nutrition support program, you can reach me on my website. But also, I am launching my own juice company. And
Yes.
yeah, my juice line. That is in the area in the space will be announced. With my juice line, I'll have fresh juices, also hosting chefs who present healthy food to the community. I will be having healthy chefs in my space provide food for the community at an affordable price.
Mm-hmm.
And all while people coming to get their juice, and they're going to get a nutrition information session. Whenever they ask me about their juices, I'm counseling them through it, telling them what's in it and all of that. So those are also pieces that I have.
Awesome. So they need to follow you on social media to stay tuned. Do you have a newsletter or an email list, or and if people want to
Oh
email
yes,
you, how can they get in
yes.
contact with you?
You can go get to my website, perseverewellness.com.
Mm-hmm.
I will also put that on my page so that people can see when I share this.
Mm-hmm.
Perseverewellness.com is my website. You can see the different organizations, my pricing, all the things that I work with is on my website. The only thing that's not on there right now is the things about my juice line, but that's coming soon.
So it's seemingly everybody has their own wellness and health company. They lose some weight on a fad diet or what have you. New body, new me. Come follow me. So help people understand how you are the real deal and how persevere. What is the perseverance, health, and wellness difference?
Oh wow. Well, first of all, let me help the people and say this. Just because a person lost 100 pounds and they can tell you they can help them, doesn't mean they know what they are doing. It's a lot of imposters on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
They call themselves health coaches because they got these diets and stuff like that. But a dietitian has been through the science of understanding food. We have to understand the chemistry, the biochemistry, the fundamental basis on how food impacts health. So I fully understand how food processes in your body and what happens to your body when you eat poorly, or how to teach you how to lose weight the proper way or maintain weight the proper way without falling into a trap of a bad diet.
Mm-hmm.
And also perseverance is different because I walked out this journey before I even shared it with anyone. My first classroom experience was my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I had to channel that with the nutrition knowledge in order to implement the change that I want to help facilitate for others. So that makes perseverance different. I'm not saying there are not others that have walked the path, but it just makes me relatable and have a full understanding of what the pieces that a person can come to me with. And I love my people. I love my people. I got to throw that in. You're not just a
Yes.
number to me. You're not just a client to me. You are a person, quality of life that I'm fully invested to help catapult you to your next level.
I think what's brilliant about your model is that not only have you walked this walk, not only are you a dietitian, but you're also a life coach. And so you deal with the full person as you talk about what's going on the inside that's affecting your mind, that's affecting the fork, right? Um,
Yes.
and so I think that's very important for people to take away and to understand that you didn't just show up one day and lose a lot of weight and now you just want to take people's money, and that this is definitely a lifestyle shift that's not going to happen overnight. Let me help you manage expectations and really drill down to those lifetime results. And so I'm curious, what is your regular day diet look like?
Oh, okay. So one thing I do, this is a tip that I'm going to give everybody. Since I love to eat, I make vegetables my main staple. And when I say vegetables, I mean just sometimes I just eat them raw and I put my favorite peppers and stuff on top of it, eat it with honey. The reason, but I eat a well balanced diet. I eat fruit, vegetables, protein like salmon. I'm more like a vegan person. However, I'm very particular about the vegan choices because some of that stuff is not healthy and it can have you gaining weight.
So when you mentioned salmon, so you're a pescatarian? Like
Yes,
you're a flex vegan, like you'll kind of
yes,
flex, but it's predominantly a plant-based lifestyle.
predominantly, but I do eat fish.
Okay.
Now, I don't eat beef, I don't eat chicken, and I don't eat turkey. Those are just personal choices.
Okay.
But fish is acceptable for me for how my body metabolizes food. So when people come to me, and the way I eat daily is well balanced. I have days when I eat cake. It's just it's just not every day or every week. I have ice cream. I have those things. But the majority of my diet is the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
80%, and this is for weight maintenance. You got to graduate to this. 80% of what I eat, vegetables, fruit, carbohydrates, choice, portion control, that's very key. Reading
Yes.
labels, very key. 20% of the time, I'll have a day when I eat a meal that I want. And I don't make it a cheat day. That's another way people fall off.
Yeah.
They make it a cheat day instead of enjoying a meal and keeping it pushing.
And they lose their daggone mind with the
Yep,
cheat day. It's like, well, I'm gonna have another cheat day, and then next thing you know, you look on the scale, in this maintenance mode, you can gain 10 pounds.
exactly. Or you stay in a cycle of, I'm doing everything right, what am I doing wrong? It's that one cheat day that undid everything that you did for that entire week.
Yes.
So I'm going to be honest with you, Brandon, weight maintenance is more difficult than weight loss
Yeah. Why do you say that?
because that's when the shift in dealing with your mindset takes place.
Yeah.
Because now that you reach the goal and life still happens, what's going to keep you there?
Yeah.
So if you haven't dealt with that, you will struggle with maintenance. That's why you see people gain weight after they lost a whole lot. Yeah.
So if some people may be listening to this and they say, man, I really identify with that Bridgett. I feel myself in that place where I got married, we're 5 years in, and I feel like I've lost myself in my wifely duties or even in my husband duties. And enough is enough. Like, how can I pull myself out of this?
That's a great question. And you know what's so key about that question? Most people don't say it. Most people want to put up an image of perfection when they know they suffering silently. We want to give the appearance that we're happy when we know we can't stand the person that we're married to, or we know we struggle and maybe not can't stand the person, but we're just picking up how to navigate from being single to married.
Yes.
So, and that's different. That's a different lifestyle. So when it comes to that, I encourage anybody this: always keep self relevant.
Ooh.
Just because you partner with somebody doesn't mean you are not your own entity.
Can
You
you
are
say
still
that
a
again for the people in the back? Always what?
remind yourself that you are still your own entity.
Yes.
Think about it like this: when the Creator made us, we were individualized. Though we partner with people throughout life, business relationships, personal relationships, I got a boo, I don't got a boo, you're still relevant. That's why Valentine's Day was a holiday for me. That was a whole day to say, hey, girl, let me tell you something about what you don't see about your date. Let's get these friends together. Let's go salsa dancing. Let's take the negative emotions out and party like a rock star. Because at the end of the day, with or without a boo, I'm relevant.
Hello.
And and I walk in that. So and I will say this, the most attractive thing about a woman is a woman that know herself and see her value. And you never want your spouse to forget that you knew who you were before you got married. That way you always keep a leverage. We don't give up our total control just because we love somebody. We can invite them into our place of love, but we don't have to give up the requirements or the expectations that we desire and deserve because we're in a relationship. Keep it pushing. Keep going to get your hair done. Just because you got kids, that don't mean it stop. Keep your stilettos.
Hello.
Don't put on the flip flops. Keep them stilettos, honey.
Listen, Dr. Wilder, I feel like you just pulled out your red table talk, okay?
But I will tell you this: that
Yes.
comes from a woman who had it and dropped the ball. That's how I know.
Yeah.
I gave up me and lost me so bad. And I had a great husband. He didn't require me to do all that. I did that to myself. I quit going to the salon. I ate raggedy. He didn't put the food in my mouth. And then we blame our partner.
Well, we can't blame anybody but ourselves. But I will say this, as you talk about raggedy, let's talk about those raggedy friends and the people that you surround yourself with. Because when you're gaining weight, it creeps up on you. And when you see yourself every day, you don't notice that you're gaining weight until you decide to get on the scale and you're like, wait a minute, 30
Right.
pounds? It's like, but them
Oh.
raggedy friends could have said something, right? Let me have that kind of relationship where, like, you know what, you may not want to eat that. Or maybe you don't want to say it that way, but I need somebody to intervene if I'm ever 20, 30 pounds heavier again.
Let me tell you something about that right now. I don't know if this is the last part of our conversation, but you just struck a nerve.
It is. We got like 3 minutes, but please
Okay,
say what
I
you got to
gotta
say.
say.
Okay.
People are comfortable with you when you are not at your best.
Yes.
But when you decide to level up, you lose friends. When you need them, you're relevant because you're needy. But when you come to a place, you lose friends when you become this being that people didn't see coming. Your best friends become your enemies. And you like, what happened? All I did was want to grow. So what I learned is in this place, this is what I say. Where I'm going, I can't take no damn weight with me. Whether it's a girlfriend or a man or whatever the case may be, I'm on a mission. I take no sabotagers with me, male or female, dog or cat. If you're not helping me on this journey, get off the ride because I'm moving
Hello.
and I'm driving on the
Yes.
freeway going 65.
Folks, we are talking to, I'm an honorary Dr. Bridgett Wilder, dietitian, founder, owner, practitioner of Perseverance Health and Wellness Coaching. Please check
Yes.
her out on social media. Check out her books. Why Me? A Question I Refuse to Ask God. Check out her up and coming book. So follow her to stay tuned. A Beautiful Mess. Check her out in community. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Folks, be sure to like, share, and tune in to Spilt Milk Facebook page live every Friday at 4 p.m. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Wilder, anything else?
Thank you. Thank you for being the woman who you are and gracing me with your platform. Have a great day. And that's it.
Thank you, guys. Remember, make a splash in life. Take care.